my name is Maxwell Igan. I have a website called thecrowhouse.com. I do a radio show called Surviving the Matrix. I make films. I spend most of my time attempting to get a message out to people, attempting to basically empower human consciousness. I think we need to shift the direction that humankind is going in. I think there's a lot of people that are bringing the problems to the people of the world, but they're not presenting them with the solutions, and so that's what I've been attempting to do with the Crow House. I've always done this work. Since I was 4 years old, I was questioning things. I always was. I got kicked out of the schools that I was going to. When I went to high school, I got a job as a musician because I couldn't really function in society. I loved playing music, so I got a job doing that, which I loved, and I spent my time researching on the side. I had my own desk outside the principal's office in my last 6 months of school because no class would have me. So this has been my calling for my whole life. My family called me a rebel without a cause. I simply told them I was awake, and I couldn't understand why reality worked the way it did. They told me I was crazy for a long time, but now my family totally supports what I do. I always did this. I always researched this material as well as a hobby. I worked as a musician most of my life, but when 9/11 happened, my hobby became my main forte and my work became my hobby. Now music is my hobby, and now I do this full time because I think there is a real need to speak out and awaken the population. That's what I think we're being given here. I think we're being given, as I said before, the best opportunity we've ever had, the greatest opportunity in human history for true freedom, and I want to embrace that opportunity and help others to do the same. Well, the position of humankind at the moment, I mean, we're definitely in a position of transition, a time of transition, a time of change, but contrary to what a lot of people think, I believe that this change requires our participation. We're up against a monolithic system. We really are a monolithic corporate system that is basically controlling almost every aspect, well, virtually every aspect of human consciousness at this time. And the way we deal with it really is by changing our heart space, because by changing our heart space we get the tools we need to apply ourselves to reality around us, and that's what people are failing to do. There's a lot of people that are putting themselves in a very positive heart space, but they're not applying it to the world. I think that it's very important that people do this. I think they're missing the point if they don't do this. And I think what we're being presented with is opportunities to do this. In fact, I think that the times we're in at the moment are really the greatest opportunity we've ever had for human freedom. I think that we've had periods of almost freedom in the past, periods that we've had after revolution where we've almost been free. But unfortunately, when we've had revolutions in the past, what we've done is we've basically appointed ourselves new parents. We've pulled down one government and we've put another government in place. We've never really taken responsibility for ourselves, and that's what I think we're being presented with now, is an opportunity for self-responsibility. The forces that are arrayed against this are literally enormous. Like, human consciousness is being bombarded from virtually every direction. We're being bombarded electromagnetically. Like the sheer electromagnetic soup that we're swimming in at the moment, from the mobile phone technology, the HARP activity, everything, it's absolutely phenomenal. So we've got that. Plus we've got the propaganda aspect, the mainstream media, all of the information that people are fed on a daily basis. And we've also got the social aspect. We've got a society whereby we're trained to measure ourselves up to certain yardsticks that we're provided with within society. And if we don't reach these yardsticks, we judge ourselves poorly. We look for solace in things that aren't real. We are always led away from ourselves, essentially. Everything that we're given is designed to lead us away from ourselves. And if we can find this within ourselves, then we find the solution to all the problems. Actually, after all the rabbit holes that I've been down looking for someone to blame for this situation, as we often do, we realise that there is a system of control in place. We start pointing the finger at various cartels, the banking cartels, the government, the Illuminati, whoever we like. But what we eventually find, if we look deep enough, is that what we're actually looking for is ourselves, because that's where the solution lies. All the rabbit holes you go down, ultimately what you're looking for exists within your own heart. But we're trained to look for things externally. I think all of the problems can be solved by looking internally, and that's what we're faced with. See, what happens is I was basically taken out on a trip around the world, completely unplanned. I was actually given a trip away from home for 2 weeks, and this sort of morphed into a 3-month journey that took me right around the globe. I visited South America, I went through Central America and through Europe, ended up in London and felt really the power of the belly of the beast in London. Was taken to Ireland and saw some very significant historical sites in Ireland, and then I ended up in Gaza. And Gaza gave me a very, very unique perspective of the world today. And it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, go to Gaza, because I've always sympathised with the plight of the Palestinian people, but to see it firsthand really brought it home to me. I believe that the world needs to pay attention to what's happening in Gaza, needs to pay attention to what's happening in Palestine, because I do believe that the way of Palestine will be the way of the world if we fail to find that within our hearts and find that spirit and apply it to the world around us. I think Gaza is almost like a carrot being dangled in front of our faces, telling us to pay attention. And I think that the situation in Gaza could be fixed very easily by the people of the world if we all stood up and paid attention to it. I think that the loss of shamanistic tradition is another very, very important issue. I think that there's a reason why the Crown Corporation and the controlling hand on this planet went to such extraordinary steps to stamp out shamanistic tradition. And I've gained all of these insights from the trip. I've sort of come home now to kind of sit back for a while and take it all in and assess all the information that I've gathered. I've got a lot to process. It was really a whirlwind tour through a lot of different cultures, like to go from South America and the Shipibo people into Central America and Costa Rica, and especially, which is almost like the American version of Bali. You know, it's a strange sort of culture in Costa Rica, and then to go through Europe, through Spain, and to go to the oppression in the Balkans. I went to Croatia. Beautiful people in Croatia, but there's a real sense of oppression in the area because the area's been ravaged by literally centuries of war. And to go from that to England, there's the controlling hand, and there's an almost arrogant power in England, an almost arrogant sense of control, a real feeling of repression, but a real sense of control in England as well. And then to go to that, from that to the extreme of Gaza was a real eye-opener for me. People have been aware that there's a control mechanism in place for a long time, but we haven't really been aware of what it is. But what people are becoming aware of now is that virtually all of our governments exist as a duality. Here in Australia we have the Parliament of the Commonwealth and we have the Australian government. These are two separate entities. One is the legitimate government of Australia, one's a corporation. And this is the same in all countries. And what we're finding is that people are finding their way through this corporate system, and that's what the free man movement's all about. And I don't think there's really anybody in it yet who can say they've got it completely right. And that's what people have to understand when they're looking at it, is that it's an organic process. And there's too many people that are watching videos on YouTube of a little bit of free man stuff and then they're going off half-cocked and getting themselves in a lot of trouble. I think it's an organic process, and it's all information that we need to find out. I do, however, think that there's a higher harmonic than the free man movement. I think there's a higher harmonic than actually operating within the parameters of this legal system at all. I think that the basis of our entire relationship with governments is actually one of fiduciary trust, and that's something that we need to remember. I always have a statement, a little saying that I use. I say, God created man, man created society, society created government, government created statute law. What we have to realise is that we are all man. According to statute law, according to their legal system, which is all based on ecclesiastic law, comes from the Bible. On page 2 of the Bible it says, God created man and gave man dominion over the earth. That's us. We are man. We created society, and society is what created government. We appoint the people in government as trustees of our planet in order to hold this place in trust and manage it for us, for the benefit of us, for the benefit of society, for the benefit of the planet. And I would say that by looking at the state of the planet, these people are in breach of trust. So I look at it from that perspective straight away, before I even go down to the level of the legal stuff that they're imposing. If they're wishing to impose legislation on me, which is inhibiting my right to hold them accountable for their actions, well, I'm calling them on breach of trust. You are attempting to enact legislation which impinges my freedom of movement, my right of movement, my ability to be who I am, my ability to heal this planet and look after this planet, my ability to be a good custodian of the planet and have something viable to hand over to my son. You're impeding my ability to do that. And you're only doing that through the power that I give you because I elected you to a position of trusteeship. That's the way people need to look at it, because that's a much higher harmony. Then you can deal with all your free man stuff. I mean, if they're requiring me to fill out forms and tick the boxes and make these statements and hand back birth certificates and do all these things to establish my freedom, then how free am I? Too often when people show a little bit of interest, we turn a fire hose on and we just flood them with information, and it becomes too much and they just go, oh my God, and they back away. You give them a little bit, once they've shown a little bit of interest, give them a magazine or an article or a DVD to watch and leave it there. And then they will come back and they'll start questioning you. They'll start telling you things that you already know. And then you can start widening things and widening the information and giving them a little bit more. But always start off by planting seeds. Well, the alternative is to just crawl back into the machine and let things take their course. And if we do that, we're going to lose the planet. Ultimately, I mean, it's a nasty thing to say, but we're going to. The forces, the powers that be that are in control of this planet they're sociopathic, they're psychopathic, they're not very good people, and they're not doing very good things. And if we allow the ship of state to continue sailing in its current direction, we've got a very, very short time span left on this planet. So I don't have a choice. I believe that every single generation that is born into life on this planet are the custodians of this planet, and we owe it to ourselves and we owe it to our children to be good custodians. I do what I do because it is my duty to do so, and I couldn't think of doing anything else, anything other than what I do. There is no alternative for me. I mean, the alternative is to let the planet die, and to me that's not an alternative. I do what I do because I believe it's what I came here to do. I don't even believe it's what I came here to do. I know it's what I came here to do. I don't even have to think about it. I just do it because it needs to be done.